Republican Guard Iraq. The Iraqi Republican Guard Arabic, Ḥaras al-Jamhūrīy Ḥaras al-Iraq al-Jamhūrīy was a branch of the Iraqi military from 1964 to 2003, primarily during the presidency of Saddam Hussein. It later became the Republican Guard Corps, and then the Republican Guard Forces Command RGFC, with its expansion into two corps. The Republican Guard was disbanded in 2003 after the invasion of Iraq by a U.S.-led international coalition. The Republican Guard were the elite troops of the Iraqi Army directly reporting to Saddam Hussein, unlike the paramilitary force Fedayeen Saddam and the ordinary Iraqi Army. They were better trained, disciplined, equipped, and paid more than ordinary Iraqi soldiers, receiving bonuses, new cars, and subsidized housing. Formation. Formed in 1969, it was originally created to be a presidential guard. Its primary objective was to maintain the stability of the regime and provide protection against internal and external enemies. During the Iran-Iraq War, it was expanded into a large military force. It was officially dissolved in 2003 as per CPA Order 2 in the wake of the invasion of Iraq by a U.S.-led international coalition. The force's last commander was Saddam Hussein, the younger son of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was so confident about the capability of the Guard that he had said, in history when they write about Napoleon's Guard, they will arrange them next to the Republican Guard of Iraq. Because of their elite status, Republican Guards received better equipment and uniforms than their regular army counterparts and could often be identified by distinctive markings or items of headdress. Members of the regular Republican Guards conventionally wore a scarlet-colored triangle insignia on both shoulders of their uniforms, sometimes backed with white material to form a white border around the edge of the triangle. They also wore black berets, as did some army personnel, but as a distinctive marking a scarlet ribbon was often sewn to the right of the national cap badge. The Special Republican Guards wore a maroon beret with the National Eagle device, and a special variation of the triangle shoulder insignia in maroon with green Arabic lettering. The bright red cardoon shoulder cord distinguished Republican Guards as well. A similar cord with green and red bands was also worn by the Special Republican Guards. Iran-Iraq War. Initially, the Guard had limited capabilities. However, during the Iran-Iraq War, it was expanded to 5 brigades, which was initially being mostly used in counterattacks, notably in Operation Dawn 4. By 1986, the war had exhausted Iraq, with both Iran and Iraq suffering heavy casualties. Iran had by then captured Al-Thaw Peninsula and generally pushed Iraqi forces beyond the pre-war border and captured territory inside Iraq, repulsing counterattacks by the Republican Guard. This, coupled with another defeat at the Battle of Mairan, caused the Iraqi Ba'ath Party to convene the Ba'ath Extraordinary Congress of July 1986. During this Congress, the Ba'ath Party decided on a new strategy to overhaul the Iraqi military and utilize Iraq's manpower capability. The government closed all colleges and universities and began a mass mobilization program to force draft dodgers into the Iraqi Popular Army. This decision allowed for the drafting of thousands of university students who were sent to military summer camps. In addition, the military began accepting volunteers from throughout Iraq. With this massive influx of manpower, the Republican Guard expanded to over 25 brigades, which were led by loyal officers drawn from the Iraqi military. This force then conducted the Tawakkalna ala Allah operations, which allowed for the eviction of the Iranians out of occupied Iraqi territory, including the liberation of Al-Thaw, as well as allowing for renewed major offensives into Iran. 1980–1988 Order of Battle. The order of battle, according to Iranian sources, was as follows: 1st Mechanized Brigade, 2nd 10th Armored Brigades, 3rd Special Forces Brigade, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 16th, 17th Infantry Brigades, sometimes as mechanized units, 11th Commando Brigade. There are some claims of units with names that are unknown. Persian Gulf War. See Operation Desert Shield. Between the invasion of Kuwait and the Persian Gulf War Operation Desert Storm, the number of Republican Guard formations was expanded and the Guard was reorganized. The Republican Guard Forces Command was also created during this period. At the beginning of the Persian Gulf War, it consisted of the following units: Republican Guard, 1st Hammurabi Armored Division, CO Major General Qais Abd al-Razak; 2nd al-Medina al-Munawwara Armored Division; 3rd Tawakkalna ala Mechanized Division; 4th Al-Fa Motorized Infantry Division. 2 Republican Guard Corps deployed south of Baghdad consisted of 5th Baghdad Mechanized Division, a square division of 4 brigades. Was able to be split into 2 small half-divisions. 6th Nebuchadnezzar Motorized Infantry Division, 7th Adnan Motorized Infantry Division. Deployed outside of the corps structure were various other units including 8th As-Saka Special Forces Division contained a Marine Brigade, a Parachute Brigade, and a Special Forces Brigade. The Marine Brigade was deployed on Kuwait's 9 islands, all of which, with the exception of Failaka Island, are uninhabited. The brigade was headquartered on Bubian Island. The Republican Guard also included 2 corps headquarters, the Al-Akbar Republican Guard Operations Command and the Fath al-Mubayyin Republican Guard Operations Command, separate artillery detachments and numerous field support units. Between the invasion of Kuwait and the start of the war on 17 January 1991, 4 more RGFC internal security divisions had been formed which remained behind in Iraq. All of these units were motorized infantry. The names of only 3 of them were identified: the Al-Abed, Al-Mustafa the Elect, and Al-Nida divisions. The Call. They may have conducted operations against Kurdish forces in the north. Invasion of Kuwait. By 1 August 1990, there were more than 100,000 Iraqi troops, with up to 700 tanks on the Kuwaiti border. On 2 August 1990, the Republican Guard units commenced the invasion of Kuwait, which lasted 2 days. The Kuwait Army strength was 16,000, so on paper Iraqi forces outnumbered the Kuwaitis 7-1. However, the actual ratio was far worse. The initial attack was so quick, and the Kuwaiti units so unprepared, that many of Kuwait's armed forces were on leave and unable to report in time. The attack was conducted by 8 RGFC divisions, 2 armored, 2 mechanized, 3 motorized infantry, and 1 special forces. The main thrust was conducted from the north down the main Iraq-Kuwait road, later famous as the Highway of Death, by the 1st Hammurabi Armored Division, with the Nebuchadnezzar Infantry Division following. The Tawakkalna Mechanized and Al-Fa Infantry Divisions advanced on the flanks. The supporting attack from the west was led by the Medina Armored Division, followed by the Adnan Infantry Division and the Baghdad Mechanized Division. Commandos deployed by helicopters joined the attack on Kuwait City. After the invasion, the Republican Guard was withdrawn and redeployed into strategic reserve positions in northern Kuwait and southern and central Iraq. Desert Storm. During the Persian Gulf War, the U.S. Roman 7 Corps assembled in full strength and launched an armored attack into Iraq early Sunday, 24 February, just to the west of Kuwait, taking Iraqi forces by surprise. Prior to the ground offensive, the Iraqi Republican Guard had been attacked relentlessly by U.S. warplanes, but managed to shoot down and damage a number of the attackers. On 15 February, the Iraqi Republican Guard shot down 2 Amis-10 Warthogs and damaged another, which alarmed USAF General Chuck Horner, who was forced to call off further Amis-10 attacks on these divisions. Simultaneously, the U.S. Roman 18 Airborne Corps launched a sweeping left hook attack across the largely undefended desert of southern Iraq, led by the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment and the 24th Infantry Division Mechanized. Once the Allies had penetrated deep into Iraqi territory, they turned eastward, launching a flank attack against the Republican Guard. Both sides exchanged fire, but the Republican Guard divisions, worn down by weeks of aerial bombardment, proved unable to withstand the Allied advance. The Republican Guard participated in some of the largest tank battles in U.S. history, including the Battle of Medina Ridge, Battle of Norfolk, and the Battle of 73 Easting against the U.S. Roman VII Corps. During the latter battle, U.S. veterans later reported coming under heavy small arms fire with bullets bouncing off their vehicles, having been attacked by several dismounted detachments of the Tawakalna Division. Several rifle companies of the Tawakalna Division counterattacked under the cover of darkness in an attempt to recover lost positions. The U.S. won with minimal losses, while inflicting heavy losses on the Iraqi Army, but elements of the Republican Guard divisions were able to withdraw back into Iraq, shooting down 3 U.S. warplanes and a rescue helicopter in the process. In early April 1991, Colonel Montgomery Meigs, the commander of the 2nd Brigade of the 1st Armored Division, paid his respects to his former enemy's Medina Division, reporting that these guys stayed and fought. The Medina Division shot down an Amis 10 Thunderbolt Roman II in the fighting for Medina Ridge on 27 February 1991, and other Republican Guard units were responsible for the destruction of a U.S. Marine Corps Harrier, a USAF F-16, and a U.S. Army UH-60 Black Hawk that day. Between the Gulf War and the 2003 Iraq War, all the 8 Republican Guard divisions were involved in fighting during the Gulf War, and the Tawakalna Division were disbanded due to losses. The remaining formations led the suppression of the 1991 uprisings in northern and southern Iraq, the Kurdish insurgency in the north, and the Shiite uprising in the east. During these times, there were numerous accusations of the use of poison gas, rape, and torture. The Hammurabi and Medina divisions surrounded Karbala with tanks and artillery and shelled the city for 1 week, killing thousands and destroying entire neighborhoods. Though it was reduced to a strength of 7 or 8 divisions, the RGFC was reconstituted, taking equipment from Army heavy divisions. Journalist Sean Boyle wrote a number of articles for Jane's Intelligence Review, including on the Republican Guard, during the 1990s. In September 1997, he wrote that the Northern Corps had 4 divisions at non-mechanized, Division Headquarters HQ Mosul with the 11, 12, 21 brigades, Baghdad Infantry Division HQ Maklub Mountain, Mosul Governorate 4, 5, 6 brigades, Al-Madinah Al-Manawara Armored Division, Al-Rashidiyah Camp/Al-Taji Camp. The Southern Corps had 3 divisions, including the Hammurabi Division. 2003 U.S. invasion. See article Iraq War, Iraq War, Iraq War, or Iraq War. The Republican Guard was subordinate to the special security apparatus of the state and not to the Ministry of Defense, as was the regular Iraqi Army. It was split into 2 corps, one for the defense and control of northern Iraq, called Allah Akbar Operations Command, composed of infantry and armored units, and the Fath al-Mubayyin Operations Command, composed primarily of mechanized units, which was located in the southern part of the country. In 2002, it was reported that the Republican Guard and the Fedayeen Saddam were both training in urban warfare and in guerrilla warfare. The Republican Guard then consisted of between 50,000 and 60,000 men, although some sources indicate up to 80,000, all volunteers, and some 750 Soviet T-72 and Assad Babel tanks and scores of T-55 and T-62 tanks, along with other mechanized vehicles. A further 90-100 T-72 tanks were operated by the Special Republican Guard. These forces were intentionally away from the capital to avert a possible rebellion. The members of this body of the army were better paid, equipped, armed, and trained. They formed a special corps that were given the ability to buy houses and given other privileges to ensure loyalty to the regime. Nevertheless, the 2nd Al-Medina Armored Division and 6th Nebuchadnezzar Mechanized Division, tasked with defending the Karbala Gap, fought well. 23 March 2003, disrupting a strong attack conducted by the 11th Aviation Group 11th Attack Helicopter Regiment, damaging 30 Apaches and shooting down 1 and capturing the crew, David Williams. And it was an important Iraqi success for the Apache unit, was taken out of the front line for a month while undergoing repairs. At least 2 Apaches of the helicopter regiment were damaged beyond repair. On 2 April 2003, the Iraqi units positioned around Karbala shot down a U.S. Army Sikorsky H-60 Black Hawk helicopter, killing 7 soldiers and wounding 4 others. Iraqi forces also shot down an F-18 Hornet near Karbala around 8:45 a.m. local time. On 7 April 2003, an Iraqi Special Republican Guard Faro-G-7 rocket or an Babel-100 SSM missile exploded among the parked vehicles of the headquarters of 2nd Brigade. The 3rd Infantry Division, killing 2 soldiers, Private First Class Anthony Miller and Staff Sergeant Lincoln Holland said, and on 8 April 2003, some 500 Iraqis, including Special Republican Guard, mounted a fierce counterattack across the Jamhūrīy bridge in Baghdad, forcing part of the U.S. forces on the western side of Baghdad to initially abandon their positions, but the Iraqis reportedly lost 50 killed in the fighting that included the use of Amis-10 Warthog. An Amis-10 attack plane was shot down in combating the counterattack by an Iraqi surface-to-air missile. 2003 Order of Battle. 1st Republican Guard Southern Corps, 2nd Al-Medina Armored Division, 2nd, 10th and 14th Brigades. 5th Baghdad Mechanized Division, including the 4th, 5th and 6th Motorized Brigades. 7th Adnan Infantry Division, 11th, 12th, 21st, and Divisional Artillery Brigades. 2nd Republican Guard Northern Corps, Al-Nida Armored Division, 41st, 42nd, 43rd Brigades. 6th Nebuchadnezzar Mechanized Division, 19th, 22nd, and 23rd Brigades. 1st Hammurabi Armored Division, possibly with Western Desert Force, 8th, 9th Mechanized Brigades, 18th Armored Division Artillery Brigade. Aseka Special Forces Division Independent Unit containing a Special Forces Brigade, Paratroop Brigade, Marine Brigade, and numerous commando units. On 2 April 2003, U.S. Army Brigadier General Vincent K. Brooks said that the Baghdad division of the Iraqi Republican Guard had been destroyed. Iraq Information Minister Muhammad Saeed al-Sahaf responded that this was another U.S. lie. The Republican Guard was officially dissolved on 23 May 2003 per Order No. 2 of the Coalition Provisional Authority under Paul Bremer. In early 2004, British journalist Sean Langan confirmed that one of the local commanders of the guerrilla stronghold of Ramadi was a former Republican Guard officer. In late April 2004, a Pentagon report claimed that members of the Special Republican Guard had regrouped in the guerrilla stronghold of Fallujah. Many members of the Republican Guard joined several of the insurgent groups currently operating in Iraq, such as the Return and ISIS. In popular culture, in the television show Lost, Sayed Jarrah, one of the main characters, served in the Republican Guard during the 1991 Persian Gulf War. During his service in the 1991 Persian Gulf War, he was a soldier, a communications officer, and an interrogator. The majority of his background story revolves around the guilt he has felt towards people he's tortured in the past. The video game Conflict Desert Storm series features soldiers of the Ba'athist Iraqi Republican Guard as the main enemies. The video game Black Site Area 51 features the Iraqi Republican Guard as the main enemies in the first episode, Iraq. Texas comedian Bill Hicks referred to the elite Republican Guard in some of his routines. He mentioned the media downplaying the U.S.'s success in Iraq during the 1991 Persian Gulf War because we still have not faced the elite Republican Guard. He went on to say that after the ineffectiveness of the Iraqi response to U.S. bombing campaigns, the media no longer used the term elite, and that eventually the Republican Guard became the Republicans made this shit up about there being guards out there. The Republican Guard appeared in an episode of Deadliest Warrior as Saddam Hussein's personal bodyguards and elite troops as they fought against Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge.